The law of the spoken word is one of the most underestimated forces in the world, yet it governs so much of what we call reality. Every single word you speak is a seed you plant in the garden of your life. Some people plant seeds of fear, doubt, and limitation without even realizing it. They casually say things like, but I can't afford that, I'm always unlucky, or nothing ever works out for me. They do not realize that each word is an instruction to the unseen forces that shape circumstances, and these forces obey without hesitation. The universe is not selective about whether you are joking or serious. It simply takes your word as a command and sets events into motion to match it. That is why careless words can create heavy burdens, and intentional words can open the floodgates of blessing. When you speak with faith, you activate a law that is far more powerful than luck, chance, or effort alone. Think for a moment about the difference between speaking in fear and speaking in faith. Fear-based speech focuses on what might go wrong, what is missing, or why something cannot happen. Faith-based speech, on the other hand, declares what is possible, claims what is good, and announces that the answer is already on the way. When you speak faith-filled words, you are not merely thinking positively. You are setting in motion a chain of events that begins instantly. The very vibration of your words carries creative energy that reshapes invisible patterns, drawing into your path the resources, people, and opportunities you require. There are countless stories of people who have transformed their lives by changing the way they speak. A person who constantly said, "I never meet the right people," found themselves surrounded by disappointment. But when they shifted to declaring, "The right people are drawn to me effortlessly," their life began to reorganize. It is not magic in the sense of superstition. It is the application of a precise law. The law of the spoken word works whether you believe in it or not, just as gravity does. But when you become conscious of it, you begin to use it deliberately rather than accidentally. When you understand this law, you also realize why repeating the same complaints over and over keeps you stuck in the same place. Every time you tell the story of what went wrong, you are renewing your agreement with it. You are watering the weeds instead of the flowers. The law does not distinguish between what you want and what you don't want. It simply reproduces whatever you continually affirm with emotion. This is why your speech must be disciplined. You cannot afford to use words carelessly if you want a life that reflects joy, abundance, and peace. To work with this law, you begin by becoming aware of your words. Listen to yourself in conversation. Notice the phrases you repeat. Are they full of expectation for good, or are they colored with fear, resentment, or doubt? Once you become aware, replace every negative declaration with one that points toward the outcome you desire. If you catch yourself saying, "I can't handle this," change it immediately to, "I am fully supported and capable." The shift may feel awkward at first, but with practice, it becomes natural. What happens when you speak in harmony with truth is nothing short of remarkable. Circumstances begin to shift almost immediately. You may receive unexpected phone calls, sudden solutions, or simply a lightness in your heart that was not there before. This is evidence that the law of the spoken word is already working in your favor. The moment you choose your words with purpose, you take back the steering wheel of your life. You are no longer drifting on the tide of random speech, but sailing toward a chosen destination, powered by the wind of your own declarations. A single sentence may appear too small to hold power, yet when it is chosen with intention and spoken with conviction, it becomes a key that unlocks doors you didn't even know existed. The sentence, "Everything I seek is seeking me, and it arrives in perfect order now," is more than a string of words. It is a declaration that shifts your energy, rewires your thinking, and sends out a clear signal to the unseen forces of life. It is short enough to remember without effort, yet rich enough to carry layers of meaning that touch every part of your existence. In those few words, you declare that your desires are not distant or separate from you, but already moving toward you. You remove the idea of struggle by affirming that they arrive, not through force, but in perfect order. And you claim the now, a place where time collapses and the mind aligns with immediate possibility. Most people complicate the process of change by thinking they must know every step before they begin. They spend days and months asking, "How will it happen?" and "When will it happen?" And in doing so, they delay their own blessings. This single sentence bypasses the need to figure it all out. It announces that the movement toward your good is already happening, and that you trust the unseen intelligence to arrange it flawlessly. The moment you speak it, you step out of the role of the worrier and into the role of the receiver. It is like turning a radio dial until you land on the exact frequency of the music you've been longing to hear. The mind is like fertile soil, and this sentence is a seed of extraordinary potential. When repeated with feeling, it begins to sink deep into the subconscious, replacing old patterns of doubt and fear. Many people have lived for years with mental programs that say, "What I want is far away," or "Good things are hard to get." Such beliefs keep them trapped in cycles of waiting, chasing, or settling for less. But a sentence like this reprograms that inner script. It tells the mind, "What I desire is already on its way. It's not a struggle. It's in motion now." The subconscious then works in harmony with that new truth, guiding your actions and perceptions in ways that make receiving inevitable. You might think that saying a sentence is too simple to cause change, but simplicity is part of its power. The mind responds more strongly to clear, uncluttered commands than to long, complicated reasoning. The simplicity also makes it possible to carry the sentence with you throughout the day, using it in moments when fear tries to intrude or when impatience starts to build. The more you speak it, the more it becomes a natural thought, and the more natural it feels, the faster it manifests. When you begin to use this sentence regularly, you may notice a change in the way you carry yourself. Your energy shifts because you are no longer chasing your desires. You are allowing them to meet you. This change in energy is magnetic. People, opportunities, and ideas are drawn to a person who is at ease, confident, and expectant. Instead of pushing against life, you are walking in step with it. Even challenges start to look different because you trust that everything, even delays or detours, is part of the perfect order that leads to your good. This one sentence works like a reset button for your thoughts and emotions. Each time you speak it, you are stepping back into alignment with your best life. You are reminding yourself and the universe of the truth that your good is not hiding. It is already on its way. And once you truly believe that, the distance between you and your desires begins to dissolve. The very act of speaking this sentence plants you firmly in the place where blessings can find you with speed and precision. When you truly understand the concept of perfect order, you stop wrestling with life as though it were your enemy and start flowing with it as though it were your greatest ally. Perfect order means that everything is unfolding in exactly the way it needs to for your highest good, even when it doesn't match the timeline you had in mind. It is the wisdom that says, if it is delayed, it is not denied. If it is taken from me, something better is on its way. This way of thinking is not about passive waiting. It is about active trust. It is knowing that there is a higher intelligence orchestrating the details, arranging people and circumstances in ways you could never calculate on your own. When you say, "Everything I seek is seeking me," and it arrives in perfect order now, you release the need to push, force, or manipulate outcomes. You place yourself in a position of readiness, not desperation, and in that space, life can deliver what is truly yours with ease. Most of the struggle people experience comes from resisting the timing of things. They want something to happen immediately, and if it doesn't, they assume it's a sign that it won't happen at all. This impatience leads them to take actions born of fear rather than faith, and those actions often create more problems than they solve. Perfect order eliminates that frantic energy. It allows you to move forward with confidence, knowing that what you desire is not only coming, but coming at the precise moment it will have the most benefit and the least resistance. This trust turns waiting into preparation rather than frustration. Whoa. When you operate from the belief in perfect order, your perception shifts. A setback is no longer a failure. It becomes part of the route that leads to your destination. An unexpected delay may save you from a hidden obstacle, or prepare you for a greater opportunity you could not have imagined. You begin to see how life has been protecting and guiding you all along, even in moments when you felt abandoned. This awareness brings peace, and peace itself is a magnet for all good things. There's also a freedom that comes from releasing the need to control every detail. People exhaust themselves trying to force outcomes on their own schedule. They lose sleep, they chase endlessly, and they live in a state of tension. But when you embrace perfect order, you free your mind and your energy. You can focus on what is within your control, your thoughts, your words, your actions, and leave the rest to the higher plan that sees more than you can. You are no longer drained by trying to make things happen. Instead, you are energized by trusting they are already happening in ways you may not yet see. Another gift of perfect order is that it keeps you from settling for less than you deserve. Sometimes the thing you want is smaller than what is truly meant for you, and if it came too soon, you would stop seeking the greater blessing. Delays can be divine protection from accepting something that looks good, but would not sustain you in the long run. By trusting perfect order, you make room for the best, not just the quickest. Living in this trust also changes your emotional climate. Anxiety begins to fade because you are no longer measuring your worth by whether something has arrived yet. You know it is coming. You feel no need to compete, compare, or cling. You can enjoy the present moment because you trust the future. This peace, combined with faith-filled expectation, places you in the exact state where life can meet you halfway. Perfect order is not about waiting endlessly. It is about knowing that when the door opens, you will be ready to walk through it fully prepared, without fear or hesitation. The moment you speak with conviction, you set a powerful chain of events into motion, often in ways you cannot immediately see. Words are not just sounds carried by air, they are carriers of intent, energy, and command. When spoken from a place of deep belief, they have the ability to rearrange circumstances, influence people, and direct opportunities toward you. It is not wishful thinking or empty optimism. It is a spiritual law that responds to the vibration of your speech. Each declaration you make with certainty becomes a signal to the unseen forces of life, instructing them to align the visible world with the reality you have proclaimed. The instant those words leave your lips, invisible messengers are set to work, gathering the elements that will bring your statement to pass. Many people underestimate the immediacy of this effect because they are looking only at the physical world for proof. Yet most changes begin in the unseen before they are visible. Just as a seed begins to sprout beneath the soil before you notice any green above the surface, your words begin creating shifts in the spiritual realm before you see them in your environment. The absence of instant, tangible evidence does not mean nothing is happening. It means the roots are growing strong so that the result can stand firm when it appears. This is why speaking with unwavering conviction is so important. It sends a signal that you are not questioning the outcome. Doubt weakens the energy of your declaration, but faith strengthens it. It is also worth noting that words spoken in fear or anger carry the same immediate creative power, but in the opposite direction. If you constantly declare that you are unlucky, unwanted, or incapable, the law does not stop to argue with you. It simply fulfills your words. This is why it is essential to be intentional with every statement you make. The universe treats your words as orders, and it delivers accordingly. When you understand this, you begin to guard your speech as carefully as you would guard a treasure, allowing only those words that build, bless, and align with the life you desire. Speaking with conviction is more than just saying the right words. It is embodying them. It is allowing your tone, posture, and inner feeling to match the truth you are declaring. If you say, "I am surrounded by opportunities," but your voice is flat and your heart is full of doubt, the message is diluted. But when you speak with the energy of someone who already has what they are declaring, you bridge the gap between the unseen and the seen. You are no longer merely hoping. You are affirming what is already true in the spiritual realm, knowing it must take form in the physical. When you consistently use words in this way, you begin to notice how quickly situations shift. People you haven't heard from in years suddenly reach out with exactly the information you need. Doors that seemed locked swing open with no effort on your part. Obstacles dissolve in ways you could never have planned. These are not accidents. They are the natural results of aligning your speech with your desired reality. The conviction behind your words acts like a magnet, drawing to you the pieces that fit your vision. There is a sacred responsibility that comes with this awareness. Once you know that your words create instantly in the unseen, you can no longer speak carelessly without consequence. You recognize that every sentence you utter is either building a bridge to your blessings or a wall that keeps them away. This knowledge is not meant to make you fearful of speaking, but mindful. It empowers you to use your words as tools for deliberate creation, shaping your life one declaration at a time. The more you practice speaking from conviction, the more natural it becomes until it is your default way of interacting with the world, a way that keeps blessings flowing toward you without interruption. Repeating a sentence is more than a mental exercise. It is a process of reprogramming the mind and aligning it with a higher truth. Every time you speak the sentence, "Everything I seek is seeking me, and it arrives in perfect order now," you are sending a consistent signal to your subconscious, instructing it to expect the arrival of your desires. The subconscious mind does not argue or reason. It accepts whatever is repeated often enough, especially when those words are spoken with feeling. Over time, repetition becomes a pathway that reshapes your mental patterns, turning faith into a natural response rather than something you have to force. When you combine repetition with feeling, you multiply the effect. Words spoken mechanically will not carry the same power as words spoken with genuine emotion. If you repeat this sentence while feeling the joy, relief, and gratitude of already having what you desire, your subconscious will accept it as reality and begin guiding your thoughts, choices, and actions to match it. This is why it is so important to speak as if the blessing is already here. The mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined event and a real one. It simply acts on what it is given. By giving it words wrapped in emotion, you accelerate the process of manifestation. This practice also acts as a shield against the intrusion of negative thoughts. Doubt and fear may still try to enter, but when you have trained yourself to repeat this sentence whenever those feelings arise, you replace the negative pattern before it has time to grow roots. You are essentially overriding the old mental program with a new one that supports your goals instead of sabotaging them. Over days and weeks of repetition, the old patterns weaken until they fade entirely, leaving only the belief that what you seek is already in motion toward you. See, repetition keeps you anchored when circumstances tempt you to waver. There will be moments when what you see does not match what you are declaring, and without a steady practice, it is easy to let external appearances dictate your inner state. But when you have been repeating your chosen sentence daily, your inner state becomes stronger than the outer conditions. You no longer look to the outside world for confirmation before you believe. Instead, you speak the truth you have chosen until the outside world has no choice but to reflect it. One of the most powerful aspects of repetition is that it changes not only what you think, but also how you behave. As your subconscious absorbs the belief that everything you seek is already seeking you, you begin to take actions that align with that belief. You might find yourself reaching out to someone at just the right moment, saying yes to an opportunity you would have previously ignored, or walking into a situation with a confidence that invites success. These actions are guided from within, and they flow naturally because your mind is already convinced of the outcome. The key is consistency. A single repetition may inspire you for a moment, but 1,000 repetitions create an unshakable foundation. Just as water shapes stone over time, the steady repetition of this sentence shapes your reality. It is not about forcing the words or anxiously trying to make something happen. It is about allowing the truth of the words to become your natural way of thinking. Eventually, you will find that the sentence becomes part of your internal dialogue without effort. It will surface in your mind when you wake in the morning, when you face a challenge, and when you drift to sleep at night. That is when you know the reprogramming is complete. When the belief is no longer something you are trying to install but something you live from effortlessly, and life responds accordingly. When you begin to work with the law of the spoken word and repeat a declaration like "everything I seek is seeking me," and it arrives in perfect order now, it is not uncommon to see the first signs of change within a single day. This is because your words start to shift your vibration immediately, and that change in energy begins to influence your environment almost at once. While the complete manifestation of your desire might take more time, the early evidence is a reassurance that the law is already at work. It could appear as a small coincidence, an unexpected message, a sudden burst of clarity, or even a sense of peace that replaces the tension you had been carrying. These signs may seem subtle at first, but they are the seedlings of the outcome you are calling in. The human mind often looks for large, dramatic events to confirm that something is working, but in truth, the most reliable indicators are usually quiet and understated in the beginning. You might wake up with a lighter mood, notice opportunities you would have previously overlooked, or find that a conversation opens a door you did not even know was there. These are all responses to the new signal you are broadcasting through your words and feelings. The shift in your inner state is just as significant as any external change because the inner always precedes the outer. Once you are in the state of expectancy and calm confidence, the flow of life has a clear channel through which to deliver your good news. Within 24 hours, the evidence you receive is not meant to be the full harvest, but a confirmation that the seed has taken root. This is why it is important to pay attention to even the smallest indications that things are moving. Many people dismiss these signs because they are looking for the final result, not realizing that by ignoring the early stages, they weaken their own faith. Gratitude for small beginnings accelerates the process. When you celebrate a minor breakthrough, you are sending a signal that you are ready for more, and the law responds accordingly. This quick shift also has a deeper psychological effect. It interrupts the habit of waiting. Waiting often breeds doubt, but when you see even a small result within hours, it builds momentum. You stop asking, "Will it happen?" and start affirming it is happening. It is happening. That change in language and perspective speeds everything up. You move from chasing your desires to walking in step with them, and this harmony shortens the path between where you are and where you want to be. It is also worth noting that the 24-hour shift is not limited to tangible events. It can also appear in the form of new ideas or inspiration. You might suddenly think of a solution to a problem that has been bothering you for months. You might feel compelled to take a specific action that leads you closer to your goal. Inspiration is one of the fastest results of aligning your words with your desires, and when acted upon, it often leads to rapid, visible change. The more you practice, the more these quick shifts become your norm. You start to expect that every time you declare something with faith, there will be a response, and that expectation itself is magnetic. Over time, you realize that life is not about long, dry stretches between breakthroughs. It is about living in a constant flow where movement happens daily. The 24-hour sign is not the end. It is the beginning, a promise that what you seek is already in motion. By recognizing and honoring that movement, you stay in harmony with the very forces that are bringing your desires to you, until one day you wake up and realize that what was once only words has become the reality you are living in.